Okay, today we are going to demonstrate using the first 11 Major Arcana cards in a 3-card spread. In other words, so that we can become familiar with the first half of the Major Arcana cards, we will look at a simple 3-card spread just to start getting familiar with the use of the cards. And in this demonstration, I am using the Rider Waite or the Universal Waite spread. Excuse me, card deck. So anyway, the 3-card spread, you can, as I've said before, you can use past, present, and future, or mind, body, spirit, or background, what the problem is, and then advice. Um, just so we're familiar, get ourselves familiar, I'll do maybe 2 of the 3 types of 3-card spreads. The first one is what we've been working with, the past, present, and future. So I have basically pulled and shuffled these first 11 cards and spread them out. And I'm doing this reading for myself. So I will pick the first card, which will represent a message about something that has helped me or hindered me in the past that may be affecting my present. So let's see what that card could be. I'll draw over here, and I have drawn the Emperor card. So let me show this to you a little more clearly. Let's pull this up, and we are looking at the Emperor card. That has a big message there. Okay, the second card comes into what is going on in the present. Again, remember, we are only using the first 11 Major Arcana cards, and they're spread out, they're random, so I'm not being influenced by what I pick or what order I look at. All right, so I'm going to pick this card. That's where my finger landed. And interesting, I pulled the 9 card, the Hermit card. The first card was the number 4, Emperor. Now this is the Hermit card, as you can see. Interesting, I think that has a lot of validity for me. All right, the next card is basically what is coming up in the future. What are we looking at as from this present moment? What is possible in future events? What is coming up in the future? And I'm going to go right here and draw this card and show it to you. And it's the Lover's card. That's interesting. The number 6 in the Major Arcana, the Lover's card. And I will put this down. Forgive my shaky hand. I cannot do this with a stationary camera. So here's what the 3 cards look like. We have the number 4, Major Arcana, the Emperor, the Hermit, and the Lovers. So going back to the Emperor card, the number 4, in the position of the past, how I would be in tune with this card and what it tells me is that I've, in my own life in the past, I have built a lot of stability and security. I've kind of built my world. It could represent the work that I've done in my life, how I have developed a career and a standing out in the world, and basically what I've created for myself. The emperor really represents a kind of a major building, like creating something on this earth plane, something stable, something that uh, is built out of whatever material comes to us, out of our grit and our determination. So that I feel is something that gives me the strength and stability to think that I have something that I could rely on. I have skills and talents and experience from being out in the world and the career. In my case, a lot of this has to do with my work in education. Okay, we'll look at that, and then how does this apply to my present? And then we get into the Hermit card, the number 9. And I really feel that, especially with the COVID-19, I have basically really kind of sequestered myself, and I've been kind of cocooning and very much a a hermit, definitely a hermit. But a hermit also represents the kind of wise sage. So I think I'm right now at a mastery level in my life. I don't necessarily have to go out and learn more, although I am trying to learn things, especially when it comes to the technology that is so prevalent in my life right now. So the hermit is kind of being isolated, being alone, um, being able to be present with my own thoughts and belief systems and my wisdom. I don't need to really go to anyone else to get wisdom. In fact, how this applies presently is I may very well be a leader. You can see the hermit holding a lantern that's a star that's illuminating. The hermit oftentimes is the person that goes ahead of us and leads us, as a lot of leaders do, wise men, shamans, uh, any number of sages that basically illuminate, so that we follow their own light and their wisdom. So, not getting too much involved with myself, that could definitely typify or describe my life at the present moment. So, what's coming up in the future? Lovers card. Lovers card. A lot of times when people first read the tarot, they look at the Lovers card, and this can definitely apply. It doesn't mean it's not something that could be mentioned in a reading. But when you look at the Lovers card, you see a lot of duality. This card kind of goes with the sign of Gemini, or the twins of kind of the yin and yang. But the Lovers is about the coming together of all the different yin and yang, the opposites. It's like the coming together of the opposites and joining together, so that it's almost like you become one. As an example, I had a person who did a tarot reading for me, one of my first ones many years ago, and the Lover's card came up, and she told me that this really kind of represents the internal sacred marriage, that for me to rise to wholeness and really own my total being was to really join and have the sacred marriage of the male and female, the yin and the yang. And this also sometimes represents the Christ energy, who was a master and ascended to that where his unity consciousness was able to be very healing. So it's just interesting. We can take this. So I look at this as really in the future pulling together and entering more and more a unity consciousness. So that is one example, and since this is already going over 11 minutes, I won't do a second reading. Maybe we can practice this together instead.